Hello, everyone. Welcome to the World Health Network broadcast. My name is Ben Calderwood. So on today's Business Spotlight, we are joined by Doug Aoki, the owner of Seibukan Karate Dojo in Edmonton, Alberta. Welcome to the broadcast, Doug. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell us a bit more about yourself, about your dojo, and talk about the COVID mitigation measures that you have in place when you teach?
Thanks, Ben. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm the chief instructor at the Seibukan Karate Dojo here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We're a nonprofit organization, so all the instructors are volunteers. We're not paid. We have tried to respond to the pandemic in accordance with the principles that I've been taught in our kind of karate, which is traditional Okinawan karate. So specifically in our dojo, we make it mandatory to wear either N95 or N95 masks. Okay, we're very aware of trying to clean the air. We have 7 windows in the dojo, which we open as wide as we can. But in Edmonton, we've been in periods in the last few weeks where it hit like minus 45 Celsius. So sometimes we can't open them as much as possible. But we also run 2 HEPA filters. We are fortunate to be in a public high school here in Edmonton, and the school board has provided HEPA filters for every classroom in the city. And then we added our own because it's a large space. It's maybe 2 classrooms size, the space that we work in. Okay. So we do that. We monitor our ventilation with a CO2 meter. One of our members has an AirNet 4. And generally, we're pretty good. The last class was Tuesday, and we had 14 people train, and we trained pretty hard. And it always stayed under 700 parts per million. So we think that's pretty good for a tough exercise. Okay. Besides that, we used to have a electronic questionnaire that everybody was supposed to complete before they attended class that would say that they have not tested positive in the last couple of weeks. They have not been in close contact with somebody who has tested positive. They have not traveled to someplace which would be a COVID hotspot. However, as in the local situation improved last summer, one of the things that we have, I think, is a real advantage in our dojo is that we take advice from an international public health expert, used to be at the local university and is now at a large research university in Europe. And he still stays in touch with the situations in Alberta and Canada. So we follow his recommendations really, really carefully, okay, because he knows what he's talking about. And he told us that as long as we set out general rules and with the other mitigation efforts we had, and given the local situation, we didn't have to have those questionnaires anymore. So now we just tell people, please don't come if you're symptomatic. Please don't come for a week if you've tested positive until you test negative. Please don't come if you've had a close contact with somebody who has tested positive.
Wow. It's great to hear that you've got such comprehensive mitigations in place. I think that leads us to our next question, which is, how have your students, and I suppose the community in Edmonton more broadly, reacted to, your choice to maintain these precautions so far into the pandemic? Has that impacted them? Has it impacted their training? What has been the response to this?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that question because I'm extraordinarily proud of my students. I think, our aim in the dojo is to help people become better as human beings, right? And we're not just here to be tough and fight and get in shape sort of thing. So of all the students that we had before the pandemic, we had one student who did mask for a while and then said that because of her asthma, she was finding it too hard to breathe with a mask. So she isn't with the dojo anymore. But that was the only person who dropped out, and everybody else complied immediately. Okay, and more than that, in the last year, okay, I'm not sure whether it was because we kind of got out or because we had a bigger presence on Twitter, we've attracted a lot of students. In fact, our enrollment has tripled in the last year. Okay,
Wow.
and And most of those people are coming to us because of the mitigation efforts we have in place, right? So in part because most karate clubs, martial arts clubs of other kinds in the city don't do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if people are looking for something like that, we're the place to come to. Right? And we have members who we have 3 members who are diabetics and therefore are immunocompromised. We have people who have immunocompromised people at home that they want to take care of. We have one student who's homeschooled because his parents don't want to send him into public schools right now. So this becomes a place for him to have some sort of community which he isn't getting in a classroom. So I think it's worked out. We didn't expect that, but it's worked out really well for us.
That's great. That's great. In the context of training a martial art in a dojo, are there any particular challenges that you and your students have faced in terms of maintaining these precautions?
Oh, sure. I mean, we again, as I said, we try to listen to the science. Okay, we're not scientists, all right. So we have to depend on what we adjudge to be the best advice we get. So early in the pandemic, there was a big deal about staying 2 meters, 6 feet apart.
Sure.
Okay, and that really affects what we can do because you can do lots of things in karate solo practice, but at some point you need to be in close contact with somebody else. Okay. But as we found out, that distancing isn't really that critical because COVID is spread by aerosols. So that shifted a lot. Okay. In terms of challenges, it's I love karate, okay, and I really believe in karate's potential to help people transform their lives. And the person who leads Seibukan in Okinawa is an extraordinary individual who was recently honored for his contributions to Okinawan culture, not just fighting or martial arts or things like that. But across martial arts, martial arts is also a hotbed of really toxic masculinity, right? So I had a piece published in CBC, which is the Canadian national public broadcaster, about what we were doing in the dojo. And I got stuff from martial arts telling us that we're weaklings, we're cowards, all sorts of things like that, as well as the usual stuff which I've never understood. You wear a mask, you're a pedo, and things. But there is that sort of element, this weird sort of notion of what constitutes being macho, or whatever. That we get from some people in the martial arts, but we're not really interested in having those people in the dojo anyway. So it kind of works out. They don't want to have anything to do with us, and we're happy to have them go off and beat on each other if that's what they want.
I think you've sort of alluded to this already. You mentioned when we started speaking that your dojo teaches traditional Okinawan style karate. Can you talk a little bit more about how that style, what you strive to teach your students through karate, connects to community care and COVID precautions in particular that you've decided to maintain?
Sure. I think, in contrast to some of the martial arts that I was just talking about, karate, whether it's just lip service or people take it seriously, and we try to take it seriously, is about one of the prime aspects we're trying to develop is humility. Okay. And we don't have in the dojo any public health experts. We have one that we consult. Okay. I'm a retired academic. Okay. But my area is French post-structuralist psychoanalytic social theory. It is not virology, okay? It is not epidemiology. It is not the physics or engineering of aerosols and air movement. So we really see that if you actually take the notions of humility seriously, right, and if you take sort of the really tangible lessons of karate, you come to the dojo, you see there are people going to be better than you because it's difficult, it's really hard to learn. So we have to show respect to people who know more than us, right? So to us, paying heed to real science and people who are experts in the field is really, really part of the spirit of karate. Okay, that's
Hmm.
exactly what we've always tried to do. In addition, in our Hombu dojo, that's the headquarters dojo in Okinawa, there's a beautiful piece of calligraphy, and it translates as roughly, be strict with yourself and be gentle with others. And if you translate that into a pandemic setting, it means to me, we're not concerned about, I think fatuous rhetoric about individual freedom and things like that. We say, what can we do what can we do ourselves in order to take care of the people around us and the community? And that's where our COVID protocols come from, by taking that sort of notion really seriously. So again, it just seems to me that what we're doing is doing our best to live up to the ideals that we've been taught within our karate system.
Humility, expertise, being strict with yourself and kind to others. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, especially in the context in which we were speaking. This has been a really great conversation. I'll mention once again, we've been chatting today with Doug Aoki from Seibukan Karate Dojo in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Tell us very quickly, Doug, where can people find you online if they would like to learn more?
Yeah, sure. We have a website. It's nantanrikan.ca. That's NANTANREIKAN.ca. It's a Japanese word which means the Hall of Difficult Grades, which really embodies what we're trying to do because it is hard. I can always be reached at my email address, which is again nantanrikan@gmail.com.
Very good. Is there anything else you'd like to add about mitigations, about your practice? Anything you'd like to share with us before we wrap up?
No, I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about it. I mean, I think that if I take the mission, the remit that has been given to me to teach seriously, then it really gets shown in the way that people live their lives in and out of the dojo. Okay. And so, as I said, and ironically, COVID has been very good for us in that way. Okay, it has demonstrated to me the qualities of the people that we already had, and has brought to us the kind of people we'd have been looking for anyways. Right? Although COVID is really serious and dangerous and an ongoing, I think, public health threat, ironically, it's been kind of good for the dojo.
Well, I suppose it's been good for the dojo, but you have been good to your students by virtue of making an effort to keep everybody safe while they are training, which is equally important. All right. Well, once again, we've been chatting with Doug Aoki from Seibukan Karate Dojo in Edmonton, Alberta. Thanks again, Doug, for being part of this broadcast. And you can learn more about the World Health Network and the work that we do at WHN.global. We are a global community working to end the pandemic as a global health threat. We hope you'll visit the website and consider joining us. So thanks so much, and we'll see you at the next broadcast.